Tupuri,
Why?
because he's a fake.
Wow. Why do you say that?
I mean, on the real life, he behaving different. On the camera, he's talking shit and like completely different guy.
Don't think he owns that jet?
Oh my! No way he owns that jet.
Why not?
You know how much cost that jet?
No idea.
Approximately maybe 20 mil.
Arman Stirring that much, I don't have nothing against him, but to be honest, right now, he is the guy to fight for the belt.
So Arman Stirring is going right after Ilia Topuria. He just picked up a big win and now he wants that lightweight belt. But here's the thing, Ilia has shown zero interest in making that fight happen, and Arman is tearing into him for it, basically calling him a coward. Arman even mocked Ilia's nicknames, saying he went from El Matador all the way down to El Pinocchio. He also flat out said he dislikes Ilia more than Islam Makhachev. Why? He says Ilia is completely fake, acting one way whenever the cameras are on, and being a totally different person behind the scenes. And that public image just doesn't match who he really is. On top of that, Arman genuinely thinks Paddy Pimblett is nothing more than a UFC project, getting pushed up the ranks while he's the one who actually had to earn everything.
Fight, and can I just ask which one means more to you? Just the opponent, beating Islam or beating Ilia?
Right now, beating Ilia.
Even though the history is with Islam? You have more of a history with Islam, right?
Yes, I do have, but he moved to 170s and he's not going to calm down anymore.
Okay. Who would mean more in terms of beating? Like, who don't you like more?
Ilia Topuria,
Why?
because he's a fake.
Wow. Why do you say that?
I mean, on the real life, he behaving different. On the camera, he's talking shit and like completely different guy.
He feels like he's constantly having to prove himself every time people question his ranking. He wants it known that he's the real deal, not some hype machine. He talks about grinding his way from the bottom of the rankings all the way to the top, and now that he's back at number 1, there's simply no other option but to give him that title shot. He basically said, "I'm not fake like Paddy Pimblett pretending he's ranked higher than he is. I earned every spot I've got." And meanwhile, Renato Moicano doesn't even like Arman that much.
He's very vocal about wanting to be next, to fight for the belt, to fight Ilia. Do you think he should be next?
Hey, Ariel, you know me, I don't like Arman Stirring that much, I don't have nothing against him, but to be honest, right now, he is the guy to fight for the belt. I think with the performance that he had, and if you watch his record on UFC, like he only lost to Ganra, and that was a very hard fight. There was a split decision, if I remember. Maybe I'm mistaken, but there was a close fight, and then he lost to Makhachev on his debut, like with very short notice. So the guy against Joel Alvarez, he did a very good job, and now he beat Charles. Was a split decision too, but after that one, I think he's the number 1 contender. I think he should be fighting for the title next.
But he fully agrees Arman should be fighting for the belt next. Moicano points out Arman's record, noting his only real losses were a razor-close fight with Gamrat and his short-notice debut against Makhachev. Since then, he's been on a run, even earning a tough win over Charles Oliveira, so Moicano believes he's definitely earned that chance.
There is no doubt. Like if you're trying to see who is the best contender, I think right now, with no doubt, is Arman. I think UFC is not gonna have any option to put Paddy Pimblett. Paddy Pimblett is number 5 right now, but let's be honest, he just beat Tony Ferguson, fucking Michael Chandler, and I don't even remember who, somebody like Bobby Green, and he's number 5. Doesn't make any sense to put Paddy Pimblett to fight for the belt right now. And even Justin Gaethje, he won his last fight, but he lost to Max Holloway before. I think, no doubt, Arman should be fighting for the title next.
And Renato Moicano still can't understand how Paddy is even sitting in the top 5. He says that's not what a legitimate contender's resume looks like. In his view, the UFC has zero real reason to push Paddy into a title fight. His recent wins came against guys like Tony Ferguson and Bobby Green. That simply doesn't justify being ranked so high. And even with Paddy winning his last fight,
He moved up to 5 now this morning. Did you see that?
Bro, how you can beat like a number 12 or number 13 and became number 5? I was beating everybody in our division. I beat like 5. I was on the 5 or 6 win streak to get in top 15, you know? And like, this guy just beat 6 people and like, he's number 5.
that loss to Max Holloway still overshadows him. Because of all that, Moicano insists there's no debate at all. It should be Arman getting that title fight next, period. Arman Stirring is also blasting the lightweight rankings themselves. He's openly questioning how Paddy Pimblett jumped ahead of everyone and landed in the top 5 after beating guys who weren't even ranked. He made a solid point, saying he had to beat a long list of tough opponents and rack up a 5 or 6 fight win streak just to reach the top 15. Meanwhile, it seems like Paddy only needed a couple of wins to leap straight into the top 5.
I'm not rich like Ilia Tapuria flying the private jets always. Like put the Tapuria nickname under the carpet.
Yes, I saw that. You don't have that?
I don't have jet. You're supposed to have jet, not fake like he did, like fake carpet with his name or last name. And like, even how you can put your last name on the carpet and everybody like stepping on that thing.
You don't think he owns that jet?
Oh my God. No way he owns that jet.
Why not?
You know how much cost that jet?
No idea.
Approximately maybe 20 mil.
Serious?
At least 20 mil.
You don't think he's making that kind of money now?
No way. No way he's making 20 mil.
He literally moved to number 5 this morning. Did you see that? He also called out Ilja's flashy lifestyle, saying he's nowhere near as wealthy as he pretends to be. Arman is calling it all an act. He's especially doubtful Ilja could actually afford a private jet.
Pero bueno, vamos a ver, a lo mejor hago un combate y después en verano hay alguna fecha en la que sí que me dejen subir de categoría y pueda pelear por el tercer cinturón, o se cree un nuevo cinturón llamado el Pound for Pound en un peso pactado en donde nos encontramos los dos y peleamos por ese cinturón de libra por libra. Así que vamos a ver, hay muchísimas opciones, como siempre. Vamos a ver lo que depara el futuro.
That runs around $20 million. He's just not buying it. No chance. No way he's pulling in $20 million. Arman Stirring also wanted to shut down any rumors that he's rich or lost his motivation, saying it's totally false. He explained that he actually grinds harder than anyone else in the sport. He says he wakes up every day feeling like he has nothing.
What about Islam? They just throw that shit. They just throw shit out like that. He's been here for like 2 minutes and he ain't beat nobody that's great. Oh. And they think I'm fucking this hating, but I'm like, that's because we got our differences, but there's shit that I've seen that I'll just remember forever. So when you get that shit like that and you got whatever Islam did, and it's like, that don't even match. Like, I ain't seen nothing from them motherfuckers at all. I can't even remember anything but getting bored in all them fools' last fight. So that name didn't been thrown at those guys. Yeah.
Which is what drives him to push himself and prove he belongs at the top. He summed it up perfectly. I gotta kick my ass every day. But on the flip side, you've got Ilja Tapuria talking about a massive fight with Islam Makhachev. He's bringing up a possible catchweight matchup for some kind of pound-for-pound belt. He said he might squeeze in one more fight this summer, or maybe the UFC could even create a new title just for the two of them. And Ilja isn't holding back, either. He's calling Islam Makhachev a boring fighter.
Do you think that Islam already surpassed Khabib's legacy now that he was lightweight and now welterweight champion?
Well, I think when Khabib's dad was there, I think his cousin was in the shadows, not wanting to pass him, just because out of respect when it goes into like your teacher and your coaches and certain things like that. I think when everything was all said and done and Khabib retired and the family things and so on and so forth, that he finally had his time to shine. I think he's his own athlete. I don't think he really concerns himself about Khabib or anything else that what he's doing. I think at the end of the day, I mean, we're all athletes when it comes down to it. We're trying to pass it and pay it forward to the next generation of athletes. But I tell you what, 1 or 2 years at Tony Ferguson's camp in the academy, and you'll be better than Dagestan wrestlers any day.
He pointed to Islam's last performance, saying his opponent gave no real resistance and didn't even try to engage. Ilja's take is that Islam just fights the exact same way every time, fully focused on his own plan with no intention of putting on an exciting show for fans. And Nate Diaz actually said something similar a while ago. He also called Islam boring and questioned why he's the #1 pound-for-pound guy. Nate's whole point is that Islam hasn't beaten anyone truly impressive. And his recent fights have been so dull and forgettable that Diaz doesn't think Islam even belongs in the pound-for-pound conversation.
Ilia. I think Ilia Topuria is the best fighter right now on the lightweight division, and it's going to be tough, to beat Makhachev, because Makhachev has a game like that is very boring, but it is what it is right now. Like, it's very hard to beat Makhachev, and I think even on the pound-for-pound rankings, because the like 2 belts and all that stuff. But to me, Elias Topuria is the best fighter in the UFC right now. Like, if you talk about striking and grappling, wrestling, Makhachev might be better on the grappling wrestling, but Ilia Topuria is a knockout artist and a grappler and a submission artist. I think he is one of the best, and he definitely could be the greatest of all times. I think Ilia Topuria has everything together,
So, who do you think is the top pound-for-pound fighter in the UFC right now? For a lot of fans, it's still John Jones. But here, another angle. Tony Ferguson is actually really impressed with what Islam Makhachev has done so far. He thinks Islam is building his own unique legacy and is finally stepping out of Khabib's massive
Moved
shadow.
up to 170, as he is saying he wants to do very soon. He can win at 170 and beat Islam over there.
I don't know if he can beat Islam. I think that would be very hard, especially him being that small. He's not big even for a lightweight, But I don't doubt him. A guy that knocked Volkanovski out, knocked Max Holloway out, knocks Charles Oliveira out. I think he could possibly go to 170 and beat Topuria. He will not be the favorite for sure. He will be the underdog. But if he does that, he's the greatest of all time, no doubt.
Tony said that for a long time, Islam stayed back out of respect for his coach and his family. But now things are different, and this is his time to shine. He sees Islam as his own fighter, not worried about comparisons, just focused on the present. Ferguson then made a broader point about athletes passing knowledge to the next generation, before throwing in a joke that training at his gym for a year or 2.
Islam ahora se ha convertido en campeón de peso welter. La verdad que me decepcionó muchísimo su actuación, pero más que su actuación, la que me decepcionó más fue la actuación del campeón pasado, de Jack de la Madalena. La verdad que lo vi poniendo 0 resistencia, lo vi como que con 0 ganas de realmente estar en el combate, ¿no? Islam finalmente hizo su trabajo, lo que siempre hace, pelear súper aburrido, le da igual el público, que no es la forma en la que yo veo y me proyecto en este deporte, porque yo siempre apuesto para entretener a todo el mundo, de que la gente cuando invierte su tiempo, sus recursos para ir a verte, que realmente estén contentos de la inversión que hacen.
Would make anyone better than the Dagestani guys. On the other hand, Renato Moicano actually ranks Ilia Topuria above Islam Makhachev. He said straight up that he believes Ilia is the best fighter in the lightweight division right now. He admits Islam is extremely hard to beat because of his grinding style. But in Moicano's eyes,
I think Paddy Pimblett's fun. I think Paddy Pimblett has a bright future in fighting. But I believe that the two best lightweights in the world, if Islam Makhachev is now the welterweight champion, it's Arman Stirring and Ilia Topuria, bro. And that's not even in question anymore. I thought that Paddy Pimblett getting in the octagon after Ilia won the belt was, to me, it was a little bit odd because I didn't feel like him beating Michael Chandler should have warranted him being in that spot. I thought that the biggest issue would be trying to do away with the images of Paddy in the cage with Ilia.
Ilja is simply the more complete fighter. He thinks Islam may have the advantage in pure grappling and wrestling, but Ilja is a finisher everywhere. Knockouts, submissions, all of it. And he believes Ilja could genuinely become one of the greatest ever. But Moicano isn't convinced Ilja would find the same success if he jumped up to welterweight. He's not a huge lightweight to begin with.
Sarukian last weekend. Bro, he's big, he's strong, he can really wrestle, he can strike, he can do just about everything, and his top control is what's a real issue. And I believe that's the problem. That's the scary thought for anyone that are Ilia Topuria fans. Because if there's anyone that can replicate that game of Makhachev, or at least to a degree.
So moving to 170 would be a serious challenge. Still, he's not counting him out, not after seeing Ilja knock out Alexander Volkanovski. Moicano thinks Ilja would be the underdog against the guys at that weight. But if he pulled it off and actually won there, Moicano says that would make him the greatest fighter of all time. Meanwhile, a lot of fans believe Ilia Topuria needs to slow down and defend his belt against the top contenders in his own division before thinking about moving up. Daniel Cormier completely agrees. DC sees Arman Stirring as the clear #1 challenger who should be fighting Ilja next. He thinks Paddy Pimblett is fun and promising, but the true top lightweights right now are Arman and Ilja, especially since Islam Makhachev might be moving up. Cormier also said it was bizarre that Paddy got into the cage to confront Ilja after he won the belt, since beating Michael Chandler doesn't really justify a title shot. Daniel Cormier also explained why he considers Arman the most dangerous challenger for Ilia Topuria at the moment. He noted Arman's size and strength. Then you add his high-level wrestling and sharp striking. Plus, he has that ability to dominate his opponents once the fight hits the ground. DC thinks this well-rounded skill set makes Arman a huge threat. He can apply similar pressure and control to what we see from Islam Makhachev. And Arman Stirring is also making his stance very clear. He's not interested in fighting anybody unless it's for the title, or unless it's Conor McGregor. He says there is zero chance he takes another fight before his championship opportunity. He says if the opponent isn't Conor McGregor, he'd rather not even step in the cage. He also took a jab, saying he'd be a nightmare matchup for Conor. As he put it himself, if it's not Conor McGregor, I'm not fighting. I'm a nightmare for Conor.